we are all waiting to hear Shri Vijai Kapoor ji. All of us in this audience know him very well. So, introduction is only a mere formality. Friends, synonymous with grace, dignity, courtesy and mannerism, unheard and unseen among bureaucrats, Shri Vijai Kapoor represents a unique and rare blend of academic excellence and administrative abilities, bringing about qualitative change in people's lives by understanding their viewpoint in the historic perspective has been his abiding passion. From his days of posting in India's northeast to his tenure as the Lieutenant Governor of the National Capital Territory of Delhi. The Indraprastha Park in Delhi, encompassing the city's lone pagoda, is a tribute to his vision and statesmanship. Shri Vijay Kapoor.
The issue that we are discussing is different languages, different ethnic groups, different tribes, different traditions. In fact, in history it has been at the crossroads of major civilizations. So a country like that should have been able to find a modus vivendi to come to terms with this diversity. It has not been able to do so. What I submit to you is that incidentally the discussion today has been in a very constructive and positive spirit. We have not gone about criticizing or unnecessarily using harsh words. That has not been the tenor of today's discussion. We are all concerned. So the submission which I have to make to you is that you have to seek the answer in the idea of Pakistan. I recently read a book which I would strongly commend to you that you kindly read it. It's a short book of about 200 pages called Making Sense of Pakistan by a lady called Farzana Sheikh. It's a very, very fine book. So she discusses how Pakistan was born, what was the idea, was it to be a homeland of Muslims? If so, then why? Its tenability of that idea she has discussed. She has then traced the evolution of the idea of Pakistan in its later years. I think that is where the distortions can be identified, which Sayyid Saab brought out very ably. It is the distortions. If you discuss it with reference to Islam, as my friend has said, or if you discuss things in a kind of a vacuum, in a theoretical frame, I don't think we will come to any satisfactory realizations. I think you have to see how the distortions have come in. Having achieved Pakistan, whatever may have been the contradictions in its idea, people like Mr. Jinnah then pondered as to how will we ensure the viability of the state. We have achieved the state, but how will we ensure its viability? And don't underestimate the problems. It was a country consisting of two regional entities moved apart by 1,000 miles or whatever, and then different languages. Urdu was adopted as the national language when it was spoken by a minority. It was Bengali which was the majority. So there were a lot of issues, and if it was to be the homeland of Muslims, then what happens to Muslims in India, who were still more numerous than the Muslims in Pakistan? So these were contradictions, and when he sat down, he pondered over it. Then he tried to say in the famous Constituent Assembly speech that whatever may have been the genesis of Pakistan, but now everyone is equal citizen. So that unfortunately was not followed. Then came the Constitution in 1956, which proclaimed Islam as the state religion, national religion. As Shri has then explained, Article 2, Article 31. Now all those articles in the Constitution carried the seeds of further distortions, further problems. I had my first personal exposure to these issues in 1971 after the war. You may remember that we had captured about 6,000 square miles of territory in Pakistan, adjoining Rajasthan. Now, I used to work in the Home Ministry and we had to undertake the administration of the so-called occupied area until it was returned by treaty. So, we were handling that in the Home Ministry, and I remember, and that is the area which has a substantial Hindu population. Even today it has a substantial Hindu population. So we were very keen that we handle the administration in such a way that after the territories returned to Pakistan, these people did not become the targets of reprisal. We handled it with great sensitivity, and I must say that even after the Shri agreement, when the territory returned to Pakistan, none of those problems arose. But things were taking a particular direction, and as many speakers have said, I think Ziaul-Haq's time was the one in which fundamental distortions were introduced. The blasphemy law, the sections relating to the Ahmadiyyas. I am still unable to find an explanation for the kind of formulations used. The formulation used is that if they pose themselves as Muslims, they commit a penal offense. Now, I do not know what it really means, because you can't have a grievance if somebody behaves like a Muslim. So these an exclusivist direction was sought to be given. Section 295 we have in the Indian Penal Code also, in which derogating anybody's religion is an offence, and that in fact is a protection for the minorities. So Section 295 or Section 295A are not the problems. The problems are when you try to then make the whole issue of blasphemy specific to Islam. It is Section 295B and 295C. And if I may narrate to you, the legality of Section 295C came up for consideration by the Federal Shri, and the Federal Sharia Court is competent to hold whether any legislation is contrary to the tenets of Islam. So they considered 295C, which provided the alternative punishment of death or imprisonment. So they said that this is against the tenets of Islam because it has to be death. Anything against the Prophet entails death, not life imprisonment. So they said that unless by such and such date this section is amended, it will stand amended. This was in 1990. An appeal was filed against this in the Supreme Court of Pakistan. The Supreme Court kept it pending for 19 years. I think in 2009 they disposed it off, saying that since the petitioner has not pursued it, it is dismissed. Whereas the petitioner had died. What I'm trying to say is that, you see, there is a combination of institutions which have furthered the direction of discussion. The Supreme Court included. I don't see what prevented the Supreme Court from taking a view on it soon after the petition was filed. In any case, there was a timeline given by the Sharia court itself that unless you take a view, the law will stand amended. So today the position is that even when you do not have mens rea, 295C does not require that you should have the intent of defaming. So even without intention, if it is done, it invites death penalty. Only death penalty. The other thing which you have to notice is, I believe that there have been no judicial executions so far in Pakistan for blasphemy. But people who are charged with blasphemy, I think they have been murdered in scores. So it is other elements in society which are taking charge of taking responsibility for pushing things in a particular direction. That is what Syed Saab was trying to explain to us. That certain vested interests have taken charge, and these vested interests pervade various institutions. They are within the military, they are within the ISI, they are within the judicial system, and then you have the lumpen elements, you have people who have vested interests, commercial interests, people who want to capture property and things like that. I remember, you see I must say that the word cleansing will not be strong enough to be used for Pakistan. I think religious minorities have been virtually cleansed. There's very little left of them. Now this cleansing has taken place, and these various institutions that I have mentioned have been willing participants to this. So this is the problem. I don't see a solution anytime soon as to how the disruptions will be reversed. It's not a question of Islam. It's a question of distortions. It's saying the obvious that Islam doesn't demand this or negate this. That's true. The second point which I want to submit to you is that Pakistan has also got involved in various external interests. As the gentleman was saying, why not de-recognize Pakistan or whatever he said? De-recognize what? It's a part of the American bloc. It was a part of the Soviet, against the Soviet thing in Afghanistan, then it got incorporated as a part of the American, it's an American instrument today. It has also incorporated in the Chinese strategic approach. Now, there is the question of anyone taking any, these are the two countries which dominate the UN. They hold the veto. So there is no question. Today Pakistan is a far more important ally of America. Whatever be the uneasiness in their relationships, that unease you have to, whatever be the unease, make no mistake that they are a part of the American power bloc. It's an essential element of the Chinese approach of containment of India. The other day, we at the Vivekananda International Foundation, which is one of the think tanks located in Chanakipuri, we had a group of Chinese scholars who had come to interact with us on the subject of the Chinese view of the FPAC situation, the Afghanistan-Pakistan situation. So it was a private session. We spent a whole day talking to them. And they were quite clear that Pakistan is a part of is an instrument of Chinese foreign policy. There is no doubt about that at all, and that's unshakable. That's not going to change in the foreseeable future. But then they were narrating to us their unease in relation to whatever is going on in Central Asian parts of China, the areas which are adjoining Pakistan. And they were explaining how constrained they are in making a meaningful entry into Afghanistan. So they were very keen to understand as to how we handle our things in Afghanistan. For instance, the security of the of the large number of Indians who are in development projects in Afghanistan. How do we undertake their security? Can they do something like that to their nationals and things like that? So, as I said, there is unease everywhere. There is unease between this relationship between China and Afghanistan in a very long term. One can see the contradictions, one can see that those contradictions won't remain wrapped up. They will burst over. But as of now, uneasy the relationships may be, but they are within the gear huts of the US and China. And Pakistan has been able to play these things in a very effectively. Very effectively. So that's the issue. But as one of my friends said here, you see, it is important that we understand how to deal with the minorities. When you deal with the minorities, actually the majority is called upon to provide protection. It's not an equal relationship. A relationship for a minority has to be of the majority community providing protection. We have protections. We have protections which are asymmetric in our constitution. Article 29 or 30, which gives protection only to minorities. It has to be so. So, it is a question of the viability of a state, viability of a society as a modern society, in which liberal thought will flourish. That is possible only if you find a modus vivendi. We have talked of various minorities here, religious minorities. I don't think we have talked much about the Shia minority, because it is giving a particular definition of Islam. Islam's definition is distorted. Today, Ahmadiyas were declared non-Muslims. I see it quite unnatural. And the language which is used in the laws is not sustainable and under any logic. We have not talked of the way the largest minority is handled in Pakistan, that is the women. It is an unnatural situation. It cannot sustain for long. And I think it is in the interest of the stability of Pakistan as a society that these issues are handled. Friends, I won't extend your patience any further. Thank you very much, and I must congratulate Mr. Suresh for having organized this interaction and having brought around the table people of experience, understanding, who have presented the whole issue from different standpoints. And I think we all feel enriched that we have participated in today's interaction. Thank you.